Pay attention guys, we have currently opened up a limited amount of spots for free one-on-one coaching with me and Adam for the people who now join the Mechanics of Poker program. So are you ready to improve your game? Go over to the site and sign up to the Mechanics of Poker program. Also make sure to join our Discord channel and sign up to our newsletter so you don't miss out on any new promotions. Pokerstars is still trying to figure out if I'm real flesh or a GTO bot. Well, you know, a GTO human being. They told me that they would have had it figured out this week. Estimation 25th. So that's when we can start playing again. But I figured, you know, don't want to leave you guys hanging with nothing. I do obviously know that I think these kind of streams, certain people like this more, but the majority obviously would like live streams. I personally like the mix up. Like this has already been now the 5th time that we're gonna review something. I would have actually also preferred playing, but we're gonna do one more replay. I've also been talking around for some guest appearances, which will appear on the stream very soon as well. I like guest appearances on these kind of concepts, so that's I think where we're kind of going, combining live play with railing and then possible guests. I think that will have a nice vibe to it. All right. Today, guys, what we got in store is Mr. Helmets, Mr. LLINUSLLOVE as always. LLINUSLLOVE always in the mix, and Mr. Dex8088. We're gonna try to figure out what these guys have and what they're up to and why it's so good. As always, I see 2.5 Xing, which, you know, it's the most used, the most common sizing in cash games. 3-bet sizing usually 11. And then 12 from the big blind. This is something that we see over and over and over. We usually see 3xing from the small blind, and we usually see limping. And limping mainly because we're playing higher stakes, so rake is not really relevant. Same with small blind calling. Especially Linus, we see this doing quite often, limping the small blind, doing a lot of calling. 3-6 queen is a board that I think Linus is going to be checking at a decent frequency. Probably more checks than bets, I would say. He starts off with a bet. Okay, so we can already eliminate certain hands from his range. The deuce rolls off on the turn, which is an improving card for Dex, as Linus would probably not have limped a hand like, what is now a straight? 4-5 offsuit? No, probably not. And Dex could definitely have 4-5 offsuit, same with 3 deuce offsuit, 6 deuce offsuit, queen deuce offsuit. So I would expect a check from Linus or a small bet. He goes indeed for the check. Now this is actually an interesting spot. This is actually a spot that I was working on an hour ago in the masterclass playing small versus big blind. I was focused on single raise spots, but as I will also explain in the masterclass, it's the philosophy behind how to play small blind out of position versus the big blind. Whether you play limp pots, single raise spots, it's very similar. In the end, all spots play similar from a certain philosophy, but obviously range interactions, stack sizes, SPRs, they change, and therefore we have a different strategy. So here, like I said, if the deuce 3 off is in Dex's range and the 4-5 off, which isn't in Linus's range, usually that means you're gonna slow down a little bit. And now the amount of betting Dex wants to do is dependent on how often Linus has bet the flop with his air. He goes for a big bet, which I think, given how I think Linus plays, is a fine strategy. I think we could even implement bigger bets. I would say if Linus plays his board correctly, I would say that on the turn I would prefer checking a bit more and increasing my bet sizing. Linus is thinking about it, as like I said, I think he's not gonna just randomly bet this flop with air. So he check folded. A hand that he could have check folded, 7-8. It's the first hand that can pop up in my head. A hand that can bet the flop, that can sometimes turn some gutters on a 4 and a 5, a 9, turn a pair, make a hand like 8-10, fold on the flop. So I think that's kind of the most likely hand. Okay, limp call king queen 9, interesting. Should connect fairly well with Linus's limp calling range. Linus once said, yeah, I also prefer 3-4 handed. 3-handed is my favorite, then 4-handed, then 5-handed, then 6-handed. No, actually, ooh, 3-handed and then maybe 6-handed. 4-handed, yeah, 3-handed, 6-handed, 4-handed, 5-handed. That's I guess my preference in that order. Interesting spot here for Linus. I have my ideas about this spot that I don't think I'm going to share. Let's see what Linus does. How he approaches this spot. He does have to think about it. It's interesting. I mean, it's a very good board for Linus compared to Dex. He does go for a check in the end. Seems like he's thinking about if he should bluff ace jack or not, or ace 10, something like that. Or if he should value bet a queen. Now, I think a queen, I would say checks faster, so I will go for ace jack. And Dex comes up with a half pot. No, a little bit more. It's a bit of a weird bet. I don't really know what's going on, but if I'm Linus, I would be curious. It's interesting also, right, that Linus thought about it for so long before checking. This also, I think, depending on what other tables he plays, if he's only playing these two tables, I think does reveal something about the strength of his hand. Like I said, ace jack, ace 10. Or in general, on ace high, he decides not to call. I think it's a little bit fishy, guys. Whoa. What do you think Dex has here? So he raises the limp, c-bets flop 1/3, check. 9. He's saying basically he has a hand like king 5 off. You know, it could be one of these bit more polarizing hands that he could raise with pre-flop. Ace 9 suited. Yeah, that's definitely an option. But then again, would you see that on the flop? Like, he doesn't really open much. Jack 9, for example, Jack 9 offsuit is not a hand that you're gonna raise the small blinds limp with all that often. Yeah, okay, so I guess ace 9 suited, which you could also check back, unless you have ace 9 of hearts. But that's also not possible. Ace 9 off, I guess. King 5 off. I don't know. It smells a little bit fishy. Do you want to have a better understanding of what's going on in these videos? In our Mechanics of Poker program, we focus on when and why certain strategy generates highest EV and how to perform more consistently at the poker tables. So you can get a deeper understanding of how poker really works and how to get more success in poker. So do you want over $30K worth of value? Go over to this site and join our Mechanics of Poker program. Actually, I used to I've been making masterclasses way before Poker Ambition even started. It's just the way I like teaching. I would definitely advocate this to others as well. If you're trying to fix the leaks in your game, or if you're trying to study in a way that pretend like you're going to have to share it with other people. So you have to teach it. So you have to be able to explain it, because that's a form of learning that will strengthen your knowledge. One of the reasons, for example, I started coaching as well, because I saw extra benefits in terms of also getting better myself. Okay, we get a bet check bet small sizing here from Helmets, which is a good strategy. You know, we like the little bets, huh? We like the little bets, just like Negrano does. Where are you, Negrano?
I like this bet a lot too. This is really kind of sexy.
Really kind of sexy. Sexy. This is one of these bets where you're like, okay, I bet this, good luck Linus. Linus now digging into the hands he has to call with. Comes up with a raise. Queen 4 of hearts for Linus. We will never know. And this is something that you will see quite often at higher stakes. You will see higher aggression for lower sizings as well, with the raises as the bets. Small versus big blind, right? Half pot on the flop. I expected to follow up for another small sizing. Overbet on this turn. I don't know. I don't really feel it. People underestimate how Ivy was at online poker. He was winning versus bets online poker. Yeah, I have no clue about Ivy's game, so not gonna judge. They're quite sick talent, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, obviously the guy is very talented at the game, has a lot of experience. Linus calls, and here we have the overbet. What do you guys think of the overbet? Jack 5, Jack, small bet versus big blind. The Grano is now probably near world class in heads up NL after the match, I think. Nah, world class. That I don't know, but I mean, I assume he learned quite a lot, so that's why I would now rate him higher, as way more online experience at the moment. 8-8, I'm calling it. Okay, we have one for pocket eights for Mr. Helmet. It's interesting. Intuitively, I feel like this is a bit too much. But my natural bias is also that I lean towards small sizings a bit too often in spots where we can actually go a little bit bigger. So taking that bias in consideration, the 5 pairs, which doesn't change much, but it does. Hey, yeah. If Helmut would have had like bucket deuces on the turn, which I think is actually a fine barrel for that sizing, then obviously he's now counterfeited. But it mainly reduces the number of full houses Linus has. So let's say we had a value hand. It's now less likely that Linus has something to call you with, basically. I think we don't need to use big sizings here, in my opinion. Too big of a sizing. But yeah, I guess a couple of hands do want to bet big, and then mainly a jack. So he goes for an overbet again. Yeah, he's really saying he has a jack. Or he's blocking a jack. How can we block a jack? Again, like 9-10. 9-10 I think is a fine barrel on the turn. 9-10 doesn't, depending on your suits, it doesn't really block him having a 5. It doesn't block any queen highs, king highs, ace highs. And it blocks some jack X. A 6-6 plus is very loose. Oh, pocket 5s for Linus. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And I assume we don't get a tank here. If he starts tanking, his Linus versus the pocket 5s. And Helmut's the jack. Let's see. Depending on the sizing, we can see how polarized he went. Or at least in this hand. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. It's quite hard. Like, I see someone saying 6-6 plus. If you put overbet pressure with 6-6 plus, I mean, he still has all jacks, huh? If you have 2 6s. He would need to call you down with a lot of ace 6 type of holdings if you want to go overbet with 6s. I don't know, maybe Solver does it, but I would say intuitively don't follow it. Intuitively it feels like too much pressure, but apparently he did have a thin-ish value hand. Bluffs for Linus, I don't even know where to start, but I would say actually a 5 doesn't really matter because he never has a 5 or pocket 5s. I guess if you're Linus, you want to block a jack, like king queen or something for Linus. Ace 10 versus pocket 8s. Damn. Damn. What the fuck? Okay, so Helmut did go, you know, a little bit of the higher side. I don't really like the 10 if I'm in Linus shoes. I think it blocks so much of his bluffs. What the fuck? Next level stuff, guys. Pocket 8s. A line is bluffing there with the ace 10. Guys, if anyone at your limit jams there, you have pocket 8s, please fold. That's some next level shit. That's some next level shit. So for a pot, a little bet on the flop, which is quite standard. And we got a call from Helmut's. So we can already deduct, I think, some hands from Helmut's range. Say he's quite... it's actually a spot where you should fast play pocket aces, for example. In general, you should fast play pocket aces way more in 4-bet pots than people actually do. In theory, yeah, that is. I personally still would slow play aces. Don't tell anyone. We get a check call, check call. Like I said, Helmut, I think, was most likely drawing, trapping, or just having ace queen high. And it's now gonna come in bluff catch world. Decks should be bluffing hands that don't have a heart. And so a snap fold, so draw. And the queen, having a queen or an ace is interesting, because that kind of depends on if he calls ace queen or not. If he sees ace queen as a call or as a fold. If he sees it as a call, then blocking ace queen is good. If he sees it as a fold, then blocking ace queen is not so good. But definitely don't have a heart. Ah, limp pot. Okay. A Betty. Over Betty. Actually, you don't... Limp pots, there's less overbetting going on. So let's see. Yeah. Pot. Snap call. Dex had no decision. Interesting run out. Like Queen Jack, King 10, hence that Dex could be raising against the limp. And obviously Lion is still having the Ace X advantage, which is very valid on this board. So I expect a big bet. Three quarters and a snap fold. So Dex was probably drawing. Dex need a chicken song for the check folder on the turn. Okay guys, you get what you want. A little chicken song for the fans. And this guy is putting on the pressure. Maximum pressure, 8.8k down the middle. Yeah, and basically he's saying he has Queen 10. Actually, you could still also have a set, for example. I think that's still valid as well. Then preferably kings or aces. No, not kings or aces. Jacks or nines, because we want Linus to call with ace queen, ace 10, these type of holdings. But I don't think we will get a call. Oh, he snap calls with king 9. So yes, indeed has pocket aces. This is a very interesting call on the river. Why is this an interesting call on the river? I'm gonna ask you guys. Like aces, I think is a great jam. Actually no, I don't think. Like I said, I would have preferred to have a different set, but you know. No, you're not doing it wrong if you go for three. For example, I also go for 3/4 over bet in a lot of spots. But there are some spots where I think pot makes sense. This is then also certain hands intuitively come into a pot because you're like, too big for an overbet, too small for 3/4. Okay, then pot intuitively makes the most sense. Shout out to Charlie Carroll for playing intuitive poker. They don't find the pot bets because they run with 75, 150. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, then you usually see in a lot of spots that some hands want to bet 3/4, some hands want to go at bet over pot. So yeah, you can merge that to pot. But who do you think is the losing player on that game? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know Dex well enough, but I would just go for Linus biggest winner, and the other two, they don't like money. And they just like the challenge. Doesn't matter what sizes you use that much. More important is your frequency in relation with opponent's frequency. That's very true. Was this 3-bet? No, it was bet shove. Do you want the ace of diamonds when you jam aces? I would have thought, yeah, exactly. So in general, aces, like you're way more likely to shove 9s than pocket aces. Right? I think with pocket aces, maybe your value should come from betting a little bit smaller, maybe making him bluff jam jack 10, for example. I think that would be, especially with these aces, especially having the ace of diamond, I think that's a more plausible line. But then again, we do see Linus actually calling quite quickly with the king 9. And why is the king 9 call so interesting? Linus can be mighty to be in any no hold'em game. I agree. I would really question these guys play for real and not swap the losses and winnings after just to start the game and pay some casuals. No, that's definitely not happening, man. Rich to care about money. It was raise 1/3, pot turn, jam river, cutoff versus big. No, what is it? Button. Eh? Oh wait, actually no, the hand went completely different. It went ISO. Oh. Okay, it actually doesn't really change much. The ranges remain quite equally. It would have been different if he would have been the one that raised. So we gotta, for the people who are Holland timing tells, let's replay the hand. It's actually also gonna be the last hand of the stream. to get ready for my dinner with the one and only OTB. Any questions, guys, for Mr. OTB? You can ask me. I will probably not ask him, as he will probably not answer them. So yeah, make a... it's gonna be an interesting conversation. So yeah, the limp call. The pot turn. Now this does change things a little bit if you're in Linus's shoes in terms of calling compared to if you would have raised the button or the cutoff. As the big blind's range is a little bit more polarized, so there can be your random queen 4 offsuit sometimes. So that does make the call a little bit more feasible. But why in general is king 9 a little bit of a funky call? That was the question to the real. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check out everything that you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, etc, etc. Make sure also to sign up to Discord, because in there you will stay up to date with certain promotions that we're gonna have, especially around the Academy, which is gonna launch very soon. And yes, I think that's about it. And I will see you guys later. Now, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Take a look at other videos that we've made. I'm sure you will like them as well. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And make sure to join our Discord community so you can stay up to date with new content, new promotions that we have running here at Poker Ambition. And if you want to know more about Poker Ambition and our services, go over to the site pokerambition.com. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.